Mouse Dribble News fans, after a week's suspension from YouTube, I am back. If you're wondering why I disappeared for so long, it's because of the last video that I had uploaded discussing the Israel-Palestine conflict. According to YouTube, I had uploaded misinformation regarding the conflict. Now, because several aspects of it were covered during that video, and they didn't specify which one, I don't know which one they falsely labeled as misinformation. It could have been the Israelis cheering on dead Palestinian children. It could have been the bombing of the hospital and the proof that it was Israel that committed the bombing. Aside from Israel actually admitting that they did the bombing. So I can't tell you exactly what part of that video was too much for YouTube that they decided to go along and assist the Zionist agenda by silencing someone who wanted to point out the crimes that Israel is committing right now. And as of the recording of this video this morning, Israel has begun its ground invasion of Gaza. And it's now only a matter of time to see if Iran and Syria are going to keep their words, in that they are going to make strikes or do something against Israel, because that's what they said would happen if there was a ground invasion of Gaza and the genocide would continue. Now, as this is going on, this is literally a genocide campaign. The entire time they have been indiscriminately murdering Gazan civilians. Like literally just murdering people in genocidal actions. Politicians from Israel have been going out there and literally just saying, murder them all. And phrases like that. Like not even phrases that could be interpreted as supporting genocide, ones that were overtly supporting genocide. And places like the United States, Canada, the global community have done nothing, have completely supported it. Joe Biden, Justin Trudeau, Sunak, every one of the leaders of these so-called great Western powers has deliberately and inhumanly supported every one of these actions from the beginning while pretending to call for restraint. Even Russia, the so-called good guy that's out to help everybody, so therefore we should support Russia, right, wouldn't even call for a ceasefire at the UN. In the attempted call for a ceasefire by the UN Security Council, the United States was the only country to vote against it. Russia was one of two countries that refused to vote. Thank you, Russia, for showing exactly how dedicated to peace you actually are by not voting on a resolution to call for peace. I mean, this is the great opposition to the United States, right? I mean, this is the one that really cares about the Palestinian people, as they claim. Even though Israel is one of its largest trading partners. And all the little tanky kids have to run around basically pleasuring themselves to Putin and the so-called Eurasian resistance, while completely ignoring this inconvenient fact. As we speak, people in the West Bank are now uprooting and moving away because they are getting harassed, probably worse than ever before, by settlers. And of course, this is going completely ignored by the mainstream media. So while this is happening at the same time as indiscriminate bombing against the population of Gaza, as the ground invasion to literally trying to wipe out the entire population of Palestine is going on, it's pretty clear that Israel is carrying out their Operation Final Solution at this moment. So everyone who's standing around right now who likes the leader of their country, well, I admit they've done some things that I don't like, but I still generally support them because they're doing they're doing good things. If that person has spoken in support of Israel in this situation, openly calling for the genocide of the Palestinian people by supporting Israel, you are a fucking piece of shit. If you're, say, someone who had said, vote blue no matter who, or riding with Biden, guess what? You are guilty of supporting genocide. If you're someone who has said that you really like Justin Trudeau and you have some criticisms of what he's done, but you still support him after this, you are guilty of supporting genocide. For every fucking phony claim of genocide against a socialist state, for every claiming a genocide happened that never did, like, oh, the Soviets purged a bunch of people that were trying to destroy their country out of the government. Oh, it's a genocide because kicking Nazis out of the government and executing them is genocide. And then claiming that like Stalin killed 50 million people when that number like isn't even actually possible to have been killed. But you're going to stand there while this goes on and then support a leader who supports this. Sorry. You are a massive fucking hypocrite. You are a pile of trash for supporting this. And you're not going to be able to use the claim, well, I don't support everything they do. Well, if you support them, you are supporting this. And you've made that decision to stand with the genocide of the Palestinian people. And that's a very usual thing for people inside of bourgeois so-called democracies. Every single federal party leader in Canada has sided with this genocide. In Ontario, there was one NDP candidate who said that they didn't stand with Israel. They stood with the Palestinians. And she got thrown out of the party because that was an outrage. How dare you do that? But the Speaker of the House can have people cheer for a literal fucking Nazi from Ukraine. Like a literal fucking Nazi that literally assisted Nazi Germany. Refuse to apologize, and that guy can stay there. That stays in the media, what, 2 weeks? Nothing gets done. Trudeau, what does he do about it? Nothing. Does the media do anything of any substance? No. Is there even a significant outrage by the Canadian people over it? No. Does the system even get rid of somebody who celebrated the fucking Nazis and then refused to apologize for it? Demonstrating that he knew that it was a fucking Nazi? No. That's okay. You don't have to step down if you literally celebrate Nazi Germany. But if you dare say, don't kill Palestinians, then you've crossed the line. Fuck this fucking country. Fuck this fucking country. And fuck anyone who supports Trudeau, PP, or Singh, or anyone else who runs a fucking federal party that stands with Israel. You know what? Any party, period. Now, speaking of parties who take really, really bad positions, the Communist Party of Canada, as you'll recall, they're the college group that acts like it's a party that's, it's actually just a college group of friends that continued to be together after college and then are pretending to be a revolutionary organization, called for Hamas to lay arms down. Think about that. Literally, and I'm getting really sick of using that word, Palestine already did non-violent resistance, and it got all their fucking land stolen. And these idiots are asking them to do it again, while they are already losing everything, while they are being bombed into the ground, while they are being literally mass murdered. And that's what these idiots are calling for. These idiots are calling for a two-state solution, which is possibly one of the dumbest ideas possible, because guess which one of these states is going to wield all the power? Because one of them economically owns everything. And you think they're going to cede any territory back to Palestine that actually belongs to them? No. The two-state solution is probably about the biggest pile of bullshit that there is possible. Israel shouldn't exist, period. For a myriad of reasons, they could go back into history, and the fact that the country based on the religion itself says shouldn't even exist. The fact that a good percentage of the Israeli population are actually atheists. The irony that they stand there saying that this land is theirs by following a holy book that they don't even believe in. That's another big irony. You know, like the people who oppose land back, but they're also atheists who stand on the principle of this is America, it's still ours. Even though the country was founded on manifest destiny. Not recognizing any blatant contradiction there. So to the Communist Party of Canada, you've always sucked. You've always been really, really awful. Now you're really, really awful. They are by no means Zionists, but they are really goddamn awful. Now, let me just switch to something that's a little more pleasant to talk about. The long-awaited paper that I was writing on alienation and mass shooters is now finished and has been finished for a little while, but I couldn't announce it because I was banned from YouTube. It is now available on my academia account, which you can go and read. I will give a link to that in the description. Also, I want to say that I did another paper on the Incel movement and understanding that from the sociological perspective of alienation as well. And I think I actually gave a better explanation for that than the traditional views on the Incel movement, which are basically mental illness or men are evil. I mean, that's literally the mainstream understanding of it. It's just mental illness or men are evil. Like either misogyny or mental illness, like that's it. Which is completely and wholly inadequate for actually explaining a social phenomenon, as those are largely individual psychological motivations and I think are not enough to explain a social phenomenon. You know, which is why psychology and sociology are two different fields. But I digress. Again, I'm only a layman. I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form. I'm just expressing my opinion and giving an alternate view on the cause of it. That much shorter paper is also available. It's also not just on my academia account. It is also available on my Substack blog, which you can also go and see there. Again, all of this is free. You can just go and see it whenever you want, however you want. And I would also like to add that I have begun looking at a lot of academic papers on crime rates in the Soviet Union. Because one of the things that somebody did say about the stuff that I had wrote about mass shooters, alienation and incels and whatnot was, well, if it's all just capitalist alienation, then, well, why was it so much worse in the Soviet Union? You know, which is really funny because I don't remember the Soviet Union having any kind of a problem with mass shooters or even violent crime in general. In fact, the crime rates in the Soviet Union were actually astonishingly low. You see, when you don't have to worry about getting food or the basic necessities of life. Generally speaking, you don't have any reason to commit crime. And when you don't have a mass alienating system, you don't really have a reason to go around committing mass violence. I find it really ironic that the country that is known for its serial killers and mass shooters are trying to say that the Soviet Union was worse. It's wholly laughable that a country that is frankly socially so messed up is deliberately trying to paint the Soviet Union as worse out of sheer butt mad. And I believe that's the sociological term, butt mad. Because of a simple unwillingness to admit the Soviet Union was actually better. Because there's also another paper, which was given to me by a friend that was done some time ago, which showed that by every metric, the Soviet Union had a higher living standard than the United States. Literally by every metric. You combine that with a lower crime rate, a more efficient system, and an actual concern for global warming. I'm sorry, but anti-communists literally have nothing to stand on within the realm of showing any integrity whatsoever. And that's all going to be forthcoming sometime soon. Sometime in the future when I've had enough time to go over it, put it together and do a video, do all the research, etc. So those are some of the projects that are going to be coming down sometime in the future. So look forward to that. And that's all I wanted to say for this video. This video is significantly longer than I had originally intended. So sorry about that. And as usual, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.